Hey, there's Jonathan Bocher from PlayGuitar.com. Today I got a couple of great guitar licks if you're just learning how to solo or if you just want a couple new ideas in the mix. We're going to be working out of the Box 1 blues scale. And what I mean by that is the minor pentatonic, okay? Quick refresher. Okay, that's the minor pentatonic. Now if we add the blues note, the flatted fifth, we find that right here. So we'll just walk through that. We find that there and right here. Okay, so that's 6th fret, 5th string. It's an extra bonus note there for you. And 3rd string, 8th fret, okay? That's the scale we're working with. Now, the first lick that we're going to look at uses this note, but we're actually not going to use that position, okay? We're going to find this same note on the 2nd string. This is an alternate position where you could play this note. So you could go up through the scale, right? And play it that way instead. It's good to know both ways. We're starting on this note here, the flatted 5th, okay? Using your 1st finger, 2nd string, 4th fret. And we're going to slide in. So pick it, down pick, okay? Slide up to the 5th fret. And at this point, you want to be barring both strings, the 1st and the 2nd strings, with that one finger, okay? So we're going to down pick, slide, and then up pick, okay? So just practice that motion, get comfortable with it. It's a really useful little movement. It sounds awesome in a blues solo, okay? A lot of different things you can slip that into. So that's our first lick. And then our second one is going to start here on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. Okay? And we're going to pick down again. And this one we're going to pull off, which means you need to have your 1st finger in place on the 5th fret, 2nd string already, so that once you abandon the 8th fret, the sound has something to backstop it there, right? Now, the trick here is you might find that your pinky finger, which you're using there, your 4th finger, might want to catch that 1st string. So it does take some practice to get hooked in there real good so that you're not engaging the 1st string with your pinky there. So you just want to find a way to hook it with your finger enough that when you pull that finger off, it's just popping that string ever so slightly. So we're not just straight lifting it off. Although with an electric guitar that can sort of work too. It just doesn't have the same oomph. So that's again something you might have to play around with a little bit to kind of get a good clean sound, but it's a movement that you need to be able to make your fingers make. So it's worth the practice. It's worth the effort, right? So we're pulling off from the 8th fret. Now we're going to go down 7th fret, 3rd string with our 3rd finger, and then back up to the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 5th fret, okay? So pick down, pull off, pick up, pick down, okay? Down, pull off, up, down. Okay, that's good alternate picking technique for you there. Once you get both of these down, you can run them together. But I encourage you to look at them as separate licks, because the more you can break licks down into smaller chunks, the more chunks you have to work with in your solo. So what I'd like to do is turn on a jam track and just give you an idea how you can experiment with these things over a jam track, because ultimately you might only play that lick once or twice in a whole solo. But when you're practicing it, it's really valuable to just work it over and over and over again until it becomes really comfortable to play that lick. So to the point where your fingers, initially it's really clunky, right? It's uncomfortable, it doesn't make sense, or you're thinking about it a lot and you don't really feel like you're being super creative when you're working hard thinking. But the way to get pushed through that stage where everything feels clunky and awkward is to just practice it over and over and over again, do that same movement, and in the context of a jam track, okay? So when you're listening to music, now your brain kicks into gear, it's starting to sound musical, you're lining it up with the beats, with the, you're changing the rhythm of your notes to match what it is that you're hearing, and that's where the magic happens, because now you're making this, just this rote memorization finger movement, you're turning it into music. And the more you can put these little pieces, the more of these little pieces you have in your back pocket to pull out during a guitar solo, and the more you're comfortable with just manipulating them on the fly, that's when you're really going to start feeling like you have the ability to just craft a guitar solo on the fly. Okay, and that's what my Box One Blues soloing course is all about, incidentally. Let's turn on this jam track and give this a shot. And by the way, you can grab that jam track from the link underneath the video, or depending on where you're watching it, but the link underneath the video will bring you to the place where you can get the jam track. So that's the basic idea. You just put on a jam track and start working with, one or two simple licks and see where it goes from there. In this lick, you've really only got 3 notes that you're working with. Actually, the second lick, same thing, another 3 notes, right? So don't get stressed out over, is the first one supposed to be longer or is the second one shorter? Don't worry about all that stuff. Don't worry about the rhythm of how I played it versus how you're playing it. Just strip all of that away. Think about the jam track. Even just listen to the jam track a little bit before you even start playing. And then just play those notes really slowly. And just let them sink into your mind. And then just start playing with it. How do you feel it, right? Guess it helps if I turn on here. Maybe you hear it better that way rather than quick. Doesn't matter. Just start trying to fit those 3 notes, these different sets of 3 notes, musically into that jam track, right? And see where you go from there. And once you remove all those other distractions of scale patterns, of timing, of all that other stuff, that's when you can really start connecting with the music. And connecting with the music is so important to really expanding everything else flows out of that point. So that's why it's got to be the starting point, right? So if you'd like to take that further, check out my Box One Blues soloing course, and let me know in the comments below where you're at with your own soloing. You have yourself a great day. We'll see you again in the next lesson.